Holy shit, that was quite the setup I just did, and now this mic is like.
Well, because now
down.
we're here. Now we're here looking beautiful.
We are, dude. How you feeling?
I'm good, man.
Yeah?
I'm good.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, this is like the first time I think I've sat down. No, it's the first time I've sat and just chilled for a second all day.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I had a very like up and at it type day. I told you I just moved here, so I like rode my bike for the first time to work.
Dude, how
and
was
I was
that?
like, yes. I was like, there's so many more people on bikes. I've joined this club. You know how like when you see something, you buy this like certain pair of shoes, and now you see the shoes everywhere. That's how I felt with bikers today. It was like real crazy. I was like, oh, we're all part of the same club. Like, I'm on your team now, guys.
Were you freaked out trying to ride through DC?
Nah, it wasn't that bad. I've done it a little bit before, but like I've never actually just like lived in the city and like just now I can do this all the time. And that's so critical because I've been commuting here to work and for basically everything else for years now.
Dude, me and you both. I literally just moved to the same area, Columbia Heights.
Yeah.
We both like have a very similar story where we were both commuting in. Now we're both in the city and we're probably both riding bikes around.
Yeah, it's something I've been looking forward to doing for a while. Like I just driving 40, 45 minutes every day, like back and forth, just takes so much out of you. Like driving can be chill, but it's still not like walking or like just taking some type of.
It's like you try to make the best of it by being like, oh, like the night drive is nice. The 45-minute drive back is actually really nice and relaxing.
Yeah.
But the drive here is just like, holy, someone end me right now.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It sucks. It's not. It's not ideal.
Also, it's kind of ironic that it's not ironic. It actually sucks a bunch of ass that the bike from anywhere you go in Columbia, like the bike ride down is all downhill, but then whenever you come up, it's all uphill.
That's what I'm about to do home. I already knew. Like my girl kind of located the spot, and I checked it out for myself. I was like, damn, she's much closer to work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I'm a little bit further. And like, so I was like, all right, it's going to be all downhill, which is going to be cool. And I was like, oh, it's going to be all uphill. Like the whole time. Yeah.
It's the worst time, right? When you get off work.
It's cool. It's like one of those things, you make the best of it. You might see me out here. My skinny jeans are fitting a little bit more snug.
Bro, you are hard to miss. You are a very distinguished looking guy. For anyone listening, Bryant has a glorious fucking beard.
Yeah.
Some good hipster glasses.
Great. Yeah, I've been getting more circle as time goes. This is my most circular lens. If you like literally see where I started from, they're like my first pair of glasses. I was like 19. Was like they were like rectangle joints. Like I still have them, and I'm just like, these were terrible. Oh. Like I mean, they might have been okay for whatever time that was, but
you were 19 when you first got glasses.
Yeah, I made it that far in life,
dude. Me and my girlfriend have this joke where whenever we see a baby with glasses, we just kind of laugh a little bit. Like there's rubber glasses that just like.
I'm like, how do you know? You know what I mean? But I guess now they know. But for me, it took. I probably needed glasses earlier, but I just didn't. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just wasn't apparent. And then I went to school, and I was like, I was like, damn, I can't see this shit. And now like my eyes have just gotten progressively worse with time. Every time I go back, they're like, oh yeah, your prescription got stronger. Your prescription got like,
there was like a day in my life where I thought I needed glasses and I ended up getting a pair. And then like a week later, my eyes just felt better again. I was just like, oh, all right. Like it was the weirdest thing. I
don't know what was causing you to have like messed up vision for a week.
I know. But anyways, guys, welcome back to That's the Angle. And today I am here with Bryant, aka Brain Rapp. With 2 P's.
With 1 extra P.
Yeah, man. And it's crazy how we've met because we met at like a networking thing at WeWork.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, this kid is pretty cool. Followed you on Instagram. We got the follow back. I was like, yeah. Then I saw you perform live. You performed your album live at Home DC, and it was actually a complete accident that I was there.
Yeah,
it was a complete accident because I was actually there for the art show upstairs. I went downstairs just because I know Amir and everyone who runs it. And I was like, yo, what's going on? And I met you. I was like, what? You're performing? I'm like, what? and then I just ended up staying down there.
Yeah, you stuck around for it too.
Dude, it was way cooler than what was going on upstairs. Upstairs, It was like this girl's like really stuffy LA art show.
It looked like there were some fancy people up there too, because I saw some people outside. I was like, damn, that looked like a different vibe than probably what I had happening that
It was like the whole squad of fit T girls.
Yeah.
like who wear yoga pants for a living, were all at that art show. I mean, no shade to them, like props to them. And like those
but it's a different atmosphere.
It was a vibe, but it wasn't a vibe, but yours was a vibe. And downstairs, it was sick. You're in this tiny studio, freaking everyone's there, your parents are there. And it was so cool because my parents would be at my thing too. And in this tiny space, you had a drummer, a freaking guy playing the piano, and you rapping, dude. It blew me away that night, man.
Thank you, man. That was fun. I've been waiting a long time to do that. And like that whole event just it went really well. Like even the daytime, like the whole daytime was like seamless. Like I've been doing events and like doing things with friends since the beginning of my career. Like I've always been like kind of DIY with shows. So like even the show itself is like a progression, you know, like as the music progresses and gets better, you know, like so does the presentation of it, because I understand myself better and I understand what I want. And I realize that like I can just create everything that I want. You know what I mean? Like I can create the atmosphere. I can control it. You know, people think that they have to go to venues and they have to do, and some people that works really well for, you know what I mean? Like if I knew 100 people or 200 people were going to come see me, I'm limited to what I can do. I can't really pack that, obviously not in the room we were in, but like even a bigger room that could accommodate, like with that many people, you kind of want somebody who's officially bartending something. You want like security, you want those type of things, because you don't want it all to be on you. But when you know like 30, 40 people, 50 people might come to your thing,
it's like there's levels to it, and it's like every time you do that event, you just get better and better and better, and you know how to flush it out more.
Right, exactly. You know, like because coming from a time where I was just like, you know, me and my homie Nature would just put like, you know, rappers on bills. We were throwing showcases, but like we were always, because as artists ourselves, we went to so many bad events, especially like hip hop events, or I would say more were now, because I feel like a lot of people are really getting the hang of like, I can curate a good event and have things run pretty well. You know what I mean? But I think even a couple years ago, like it was just like put 20 artists on the bill. Everybody's performing one song. It sucked for the artists. It sucked for the people who got dragged out to go see that thing. And like, we knew that, you know what I mean? Like we were just like, man, it's
definitely, it's different. Like the event experience has changed so much, and it's gotten to a thing where it's up to the artist, the creative, to almost put themselves on to create this atmosphere and to promote their own event at someone's spot that they're probably getting pro bono.
Absolutely. It's, I mean, at least for me, like I just have to do everything, you know, like I'm very hands-on, because if it's not me, then there's no one else. The thing doesn't happen. Like I can't just sit around and be like, damn, I wish this cool event happened. You know, it's like, all right, well, I got to do it. And then you do it. You're like, all right, this could be more interesting. And like, it just worked out. It worked out to like with the theme of the album and everything as well. You know, like
before we get into that though, how long have you been in like the rap game and putting on events? I guess with that.
So I did my first performance back in 2011. I think was the first time I ever like actually did a show. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 2012, but I feel like it was 2011. Yeah. I remember when it was Halloween. I just can't remember if it was 2011. I
remember regardless, 7-8 years, that's still a lot of time.
Yeah. And that was like the first time. And then it was just more. And then I think the first time I organized a show was again me and Nature put together a thing for, I think, maybe a year or two later. You know what I mean? So probably since like 2013. You know, like occasionally, especially when I need a show, like a lot of times I'll just make one. You know what I mean? Like
what do you mean just make a show?
Like make a reason for myself to perform, because believe it or not, like, you know, there's a lot of people who know me and know me as a musician, but like I don't really get booked a lot for things. So like instead of being like, oh, well, why does nobody book me? I'm just like, all right, you know what? Cool. I don't care. Like I make my own thing.
That's probably like the better way to do it. Like on your rush shit, you know, just putting your own self on, like I said, making the events. And
it's fine. It works out fine. I mean, I think at a time where it was just like, oh man, you know why not? But
why do you think no one's putting you on bills?
I don't know.
Because you're a white rapper?
I don't.
That's such an easy excuse.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think that sometimes people don't know. I'm not really sure. I always think about that. I'm like, I don't know. Like, obviously, like I'm a good performer. I think I am. Like,
performance was good.
Yeah, and like I think people are often surprised, and it takes like seeing me live to actually be like, oh no, this is cool. This is like, this works. Well, you know what I mean? Because I've had so many people be like, yo, that was really good, and I'm like people who know me as an artist. Like, if you just don't know me from anything, I'm like, yeah, like I know I've been doing this for a long time. Like, you would think that you would be all right by now, but I don't really know what it is. I think sometimes it's hard to identify for somebody what my like draw is, or like what attracts people to something that I'm doing. Like, I'm hard to put in a box. Like, I don't fit. I think that's what
it is because from an outsider perspective, it's like you're pretty counter to what's popular right now in like the rap game. You're performing with the band. Your lyrics are very thoughtful and like almost in stories.
Yeah,
you're presenting everything in a different way, in your own way.
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of just one of those things that you learn as you go.
Yeah,
is like how better to kind of just present yourself or like accentuate the things that are good about you, or that you think are cool about you or interesting, and differentiate yourself. But I think for other people, they're just kind of like, I don't know what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To an extent, they're like, I could see this, but maybe not. So it's like, okay, that's fine. If it's gonna take me to put me where I'm gonna go, then like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
And you're talking like those festival shows, I guess, like those kinds of bookings,
festivals, even just like just like stuff around the city.
Really?
Like it's always strange to me, like how many people know me when we see each other in person. It's like, yo, what's up, and like, but there's not people blowing up my line to put me on a bill or something. Believe me, there's like a lot of shows going on around like cities in between cities, but like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. It's just funny to me because I'm like, yo, I mess with y'all. Like, why don't y'all? Yeah, I did, but it's always been like that way. Like I've always kind of felt, like somewhat of an outsider to a lot of things, and that's just like in life in general. But, like I'll be in a part of something, but it's like you're not all the way a part of something.
That's kind of interesting. You always feel like an outsider.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think like
you're not like whatever it is you're involved with, you're not fully
like pulled into that thing. Yeah, like, and that's always.
So you kind of feel like that with like the DC rap scene a little bit.
I think I feel about that a little bit with the DMV, like because there's a lot of like artists, artists supporting artists and stuff like that. But like, and it's weird too to come from a place where like, especially like me, and I always talk about nature because we did so much work together. Is like that was never like he's been putting artists on bills and things like that, and putting together shows, whether it's small things or like even having local people coming through to to do the Fillmore, like booking acts for Fillmore, putting local talent because they were going to him to Fillmore. You know what I mean? You would think that like you put your arms around people to do that, but it's like it's not so much that way. But there's definitely, and like it all just goes back to I think for me like just being somewhat of different. Like even in like the DMV, like I'm from Columbia, Maryland.
Dang.
You know what I mean? Like most people would be like, all right, the DMV is anywhere the metro touches. That's not Howard County. Howard County and Columbia is particularly like smack in between,
and that's kind of
Baltimore and DC. Because and then even Baltimore too. Like if people were like, "Oh, you're a Baltimore rapper," I'm like, "No, like I'm not," because I know people who are. So there's always that like kind of regional thing too with a lot of scenes like where they just know that you are from somewhere else. It's like
it's like I get the mentality from people because it's easy to feel like that too, because when you're not in the city and you're commuting in,
like you really are.
It's like that weird thing in the back of your head. It's like, it's like as a photographer, I'm like, I'm a DC-based photographer, but I live in Virginia.
Yeah.
But now either of us don't.
Yeah, it's like I live in DC, but like I'm not from DC. Like it's like I'm living. I could be in Baltimore. It's like, I live in Baltimore. I'm from Baltimore. Especially it's like when you really know people who are from those areas. It's like, we have a different. We've had some different, life experience. I think that's to say obviously with anywhere being in two different places. But I think in terms of being in an art scene, like there's that. But I think over time
it's hard to commute into an art scene,
right? Right. Yeah. Cause you're not really, you don't get to be in it because like, if there's something going on last minute, I just can't get there, right away. Sometimes I can, but there's also things that happen when, you're walking down the street or we're going to the next event is over there. So it's like, it's harder to really be like fully immersed in something. So like, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's like you can't just taste the sauce. You got to fully dive in the sauce and be a part of it.
Sauce.
Tuesday night, you can't just pop up to your homie's event. You're like, oh, it's 45 minutes, and I'm having a few drinks.
Yeah, this is an hour and a half. If I drink
and then
too
you're
much,
like, shit. And then now you can just boop, boop, bing, bing. Like, I
call a lift, get on a, whatever.
But back to what you're saying about not being accepted. I think in a lot of ways there could be a lot of beauty in that, where it's like you have your years. I feel like looking at you, it's so developed, dude. Like the Brain Rapp. All your graphics look so good.
Thank you. And that's something
you design those?
Yeah, that's something that's developed over the years too. Like there's few things, I mean, there's obviously a lot, but like that's one of the things that I'm like most proud of is like having to do flyers for myself or wanting to, not always having to, because I've always had a bar for visual art, even before I knew that I had one, like whether it was buying clothes or something, like it's all part of the same type of thinking, I think. And that's why, I would, when I would go do one of those things with 20 artists on it and one song, like I would look at what I was seeing. I was like, this is terrible. Like nobody should be looking at this. Like it's not informative. It's not good at all. So I was just like, and then I remember one time I paid somebody to make a flyer for me. It took one time. And this is weird because it's counter kind of the actual business that I have, like my side hustle doing design for people, you know what I mean? And like, but it came from me getting a flyer from somebody and I was like, damn, I just paid you $80 to do that. I could do this. And that's where it came from. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to, I downloaded a program that I used for years. It was called Affinity Design. It was $50.
Never even heard of that.
It's a blend of like Photoshop and Illustrator and the same kind of thing. So they have like, your raster image editor and then your vector and like another thing. And like, it's not the best thing in the world and there's not like a huge user community for it. So like when you have a problem and you want to know something, you can't just YouTube a video. You can't YouTube 10 videos of it if you even found one.
It's not like Photoshop or Premiere where you can see that.
There's so much community.
I've never even heard of that. Even as someone who spends a lot of time in like a program editing pimples off someone's face and changing the colors of the backdrops. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's affinity
But it
design.
seems like you just got into that part out of necessity.
Purely.
As like another element to add. You're like, I don't like the events. I'm gonna put my own. I don't like the designs. I'm gonna do it myself.
So there's also an element with me too of like, I know that when it comes to my art, and maybe it comes to other things in my life, is like you get like a control freak vibe. Like I know that, you know what I mean? I know that about myself. Is like it would be very hard for me to have certain other people like even helping sometimes because I'd be like, yo, you got this, you know what I mean? Like because my standards are high for like what I have for myself. So obviously they're going to be like that for somebody else. So, but that's where it all came from is like, nah, man, like I don't like the way this looks. This could be better. The flyer could be better. And I think art and the reason why it's always been so important to me, like it's the first thing people see before they even hear you for the most part.
It's the branding, the visuals.
They see you, like whether it's a physical photo of you or a graphic or whatever it is, it's you in a graphic sense. So like you want to give yourself the best shot because there's songs where I've never listened to them. I probably never listened because I was like, man, this art's whack. It's the same thing as like going to buy a bottle of wine. Like I buy bottles of wine almost strictly on the art that's from them. Once I'm like, okay, what am I?
I think everyone buys a bottle of wine depending on the art that's from it.
If I'm looking,
no one really knows what they're looking at.
Right. If I'm looking for a red, I make the decision. All right, do I want white or red? That's my categories. Once I'm in red category, I'm looking at all red. You know what I mean? Like, and then if that one's cool and it's between $12 and $18,
no more than buying the bottle, we're good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm buying that one. And that's how it is with music. You know what I mean? I think, at least from a visual sense. Like, and two, here's the other thing with the flyers is that what I encountered, anybody who's tried to ever put on an event knows that like
you got to have a dope flyer.
Right. Well, but it's like everybody sees everything you do and they like and they comment, they interact with it. The moment you post a flyer, for the most part, people are like, I didn't see it. Nobody likes it. Right. People don't like flyers.
And not only that, but you can post a flyer in your story for something you're doing, and you know they see it. Mm-hmm. Like they're your friends, and they don't go to your event.
Everybody sees it, yeah.
And literally, I've had this happen. I'm like, why weren't you there? And they're like, you didn't invite me. I'm like,
I can't invite everybody. Like
everyone wants like a personal invite these days.
Well, that's what I started doing too. Like when I'll spend a day and I'll just text people and I'll just be like, yo, what's up? I mean, it's cool. It's fun to do, but like, my hands feel like I'm going to fall off. Like they're going to fall off.
Copy pasta on that thing.
I just be like, yo, what's up? What's up? You know, but that's kind of...
Do you feel like you being in the city is going to kind of help propel your rap game? Because I'm assuming that the whole point of you doing it is that you want that to be your main thing.
I do. Like I do. I think it's just been so long that it's like, it's hard for me to imagine what life would be like just making music. I've never had, really taken or had that opportunity. I mean, I think few people ever really do, except for like, if you have some type of major support that's like, look, we got you, good, just stay in the studio and keep creating. But like 98% of the artists that I know don't have that opportunity, you know what I mean? Or don't have that situation for themselves.
It's a rare situation.
Yeah, of course. It's super rare. So, it's always been balancing work and like living and doing a million other things.
I think
you know
what
I mean?
Like, grind is like you have to be, you literally have to be multidimensional these days.
And that's what I think about sometimes. I'm like, honestly, would I want it to be like, have more things taken care of? Like, I don't know what it would be like to just have to stay in a studio all day and like write songs. Like, I think that would drain my creativity. Like I get, my ideas from living, you know what I mean? Maybe that would spur some because that's a different situation. I've never been in that before, but like mostly it's something that's going on in my life.
Like it's not mostly that. I feel like when you're when that's like your main source of income as an artist, I think it's very romantic to be, I'm always in the studio, but you're doing stuff like this everywhere. You're touring, you're at the band, you're on the social. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like when you're, out making moves and doing shows, like you don't really have that much
just
time.
Go.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's like sort of what this prepares you for, because like today is that. You know what I mean? And the most days are like, I don't clock in or out. Like I'll go and work and I'll drive home, or now hopefully I'll ride my bike home and I just go work more. Like I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have like a ton of hobbies that I do outside of like work. Luckily, like my work things are fun.
What do you do for work, by the way?
I'm a barista.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So big coffee moves.
Coffee's dope. We'll definitely talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm a huge.
We have to. Too. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I planned on that one. I was like, ooh, I got more coffee questions than anything now.
No.
But it's like your creative life and everything just sort of weaves in and out of itself. It's like,
and it builds upon itself. Like the more, like one creative thing leads to another, and like that's fun for me. Like I would always like to juggle that balance. Like that would be fun for me. It would just be real fun knowing that like I have a savings account that's growing or something like that. You know what I mean?
You're practical.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not only practical, but you're doing what you want. Going full dive is probably not the safest thing.
No. I've never felt that way. And like, I take some risk, but I'm like risk averse in that category. Like a lot of that, like, yes, I could have completely just quit my job. I tried for a little while, but it was just like, I also had too much free time. I've been working since I was 14. Not 14. Like a ton, but like progressively more and more in life. But like I've always had sort of the structure of, I think I need structure. Like having a job and working part-time helps me be more productive, because if I wake up and it's slots. Just like, even I have trouble like getting self-started some days.
Dude, trust me, you're right on the money, because I've been full-time photographer for a year now, and it's weird. Like I'll be talking to my friends, like, I think I need to regiment my schedule, because I wake up in the morning and you kind of have this time where
you don't have to do.
It's interesting where you have to be so disciplined to kind of segment your day into little blocks and compartmentalize it. Where otherwise, I could literally sit there and just not do anything. All of a sudden, I'm behind on edits. behind the emails, behind on everything.
But if I get up and go in the morning, like when I have to open at work, like previously I had to get up at like 5:30 to make it to work by 6:30.
Yeah, you gotta wake up before that.
Yeah, and like go in there and set up, and it's just. But I'm so productive those days, like because I'm not gonna go home and take a nap. Like luckily I work in a coffee shop, and basically I'm just fueled on caffeine for the most part. Like so I'll just get home and just work on a design, write, like.
But it's like very limited. It's
I have
work.
I have 3 hours right now that I could even and especially with like songwriting, like all of Bloom was written probably in 3 hours after one day.
Yeah, what's
3 hours after one day?
What's the writing process, especially I guess considering for Bloom and stuff?
That was
your recent EP that just came out that you can get anywhere,
any and everywhere. But no, that was really just after work. I probably wrote a bulk of that between like 3 and 6 o'clock Monday through Friday, like because I also get creative like writing wise. Like I have like a set time that I do it just because of work. Like I open most days at work, so that would put me back to Columbia by like 2:30 if I'm off at 1.
Oh yeah.
So then I would just go make a cup of coffee, and I would either go sit out on the front porch of like my parents' house where I was living at the time, or like go outside somewhere. I wrote a lot of it outside. A little bit in like the little basement that I lived in, but for the most part, it was like sitting outside. I think like I get more creative with just being out in the open or having stuff to look at.
Is it the trees, man?
I don't know if
energy of the trees.
It is the energy. No. So also I don't really smoke at all. And like, especially not when I create.
Really?
I'm
not gonna lie, man. If I just looked at you, I'd be like, that guy smokes a lot of bud.
People think, but well, also a lot of people don't know that I do smoke. It's weird, like because I definitely do, but just not a lot, and not as much as I did for a big chunk of time in my life. But I found that when it comes to writing, when I'm high, really good freestyle, just rhyming words together game. Like, but because I'm high, I have trouble really feeling like I feel high. So
you're
like the message, like if I like, let's say I was real, like maybe I'm sad or something, or maybe I'm feeling angry or whatever. If I get high, then I just feel high.
You're not
all the stuff that I cared about. Emotion. Yeah, it detaches me. So like I have to write sober. I realize that I write more better content wise. Like,
do you not like the feeling of being baked?
No, I do, but now it's more like I love making beats high. I like writing high. It's just I want to have things that mean something. Like I want to make songs that have feeling.
It's smart though. You know that you can't do everything baked. Like
hell yeah.
Part of like growing up and realizing, wow, I just can't talk on the phone to strangers baked. It's just hard to do.
Right. No, it totally is. And so the writing process was really, it's more a product of
caffeine
than anything else. Caffeine, obviously, and just whatever vibes I had, just being outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wrote Light sitting out by this lake in Columbia. Damn. Like just bring my laptop out with me. I type everything too. I write on my laptop. I don't pen and paper thing it was always hard. It was too messy for me. Like if I have to cross out, cause I delete a lot of stuff cause it needs to like sound right. It needs to even like look right.
Interesting that you do type it though. I feel like sometimes that could be, you must type fast as hell.
I'm pretty, I do type kind of quick.
Yeah. Some people they'd be like,
I used to be on Mavis Beacon heavy. I don't know if you ever like in school or whatever, they had this program called Mavis Beacon and it was like it taught you how to type, but it had this racing game with a car and the faster you typed, like, and without any, like it was like this race and we used to have races in class.
Yeah. It was your words per minute and how many.
Yeah. It would give you like the whole readout.
So it's like, it's free flowing for you when you're typing, you're typing the thought connections.
And if something doesn't like work, I just backspace it out. You know what I mean? I don't leave it. Otherwise, I'd have to cross it out. And then, like, I write every once in a while in, like, a notepad. Sometimes it helps me. Or or maybe it's all I have. I don't know. But for the most part, like if I'm writing, I'm like, damn, this is whack. So I got one rhyme, I got half a bar up here, half a bar down here, and I'm trying to get the flow of it, and it just is broken up by all the things I crossed out.
I think it's about
throws me all the way off.
It's like whatever works for you, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Who cares how everyone else does it with their freaking moleskin and some shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wish I could have like a notebook full of like a leather bound notebook full of like great rhymes, and I could like unfold it and like
this is my. So I leave this to you, like Kurt Cobain's diary. Like,
I know. No, I do wish that I had like some more like physical things of my songs. Like, here's where I actually wrote it, but like
this is where I thought about this phrase.
I could show you a Word document. That's it. But the cool thing is I have everything stored that I've ever written ever, because I started this document when I was 13.
Whoa, you do it all in one document?
Yeah, it's all in the same place.
That makes me nervous, man. I'm not gonna lie. Please tell me you have that backed up like 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very bad.
I apologize for assuming you're stupid.
No, it's okay. I mean, there was probably a while where it wasn't. You know what I mean? But like, it's all there. But the cool thing is like I can like look at the word count. So I can look at the letters and paragraphs. It's
is it an album or an EP?
I've been calling it an album because it feels like an album to me. I looked at the actual like exact definitions the other day because I needed it for. I was registering the music. And I was like, what's the distinction?
What is the distinction between album and EP?
It was like an EP is usually like 2 or 3 songs, whereas like a album can be like 7, but it's a length thing too. I think they said it's anything over 25 minutes.
Is an album?
Yeah, or something like that. There's actual some distinction, but nobody cares. You know what I mean? Sometimes I say project. Sometimes I say album. I used to say EP. This one just felt like an album. I was like, you don't put this much thought and effort and concept into a piece of work.
Why'd you name it Bloom, by the way?
Originally it was going to be called Late Bloomer. Because like that's kind of how I felt. I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm just figuring out things that like maybe other people knew about themselves earlier in life. But like, I feel like I'm late in some way. You know, maybe everybody feels like that to some certain extent, but I feel like I was late to really pursue and find like what I should be doing.
Like your purpose?
Yeah, my purpose, or even like my passion too.
Your passion. Yeah.
Because like, you know, throughout earlier parts of my life, I didn't recognize the things that I was doing for fun were my passions. You know, I went into science because that's what, you know, was kind of modeled for me. And I have a great respect for science and I really love it. And if it wasn't for music, that's probably what I'd be, and I'd be happy with it. You know, my parents are scientists. Like that was,
oh wow.
Yeah. So like I have a degree in environmental science. Like,
so you thought that was the path, I guess, for you or something?
Yeah, because it was very sensible for me to do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of what you did. You know, you graduate, you go to school, you get your degree, you get a job, and you know, if you got hobbies and stuff like that, you can always do them. But it's in between this thing, and it has to be the thing that you went to school for, or not has to be like. But, you know, it kind of is. That's what you do.
It's different because there's so much pressure to feel like you have it figured out. And it's so easy to look at kids who are 22, 23 who do have it figured out.
Yeah.
And I felt that too. I feel that now, even as a 28-year-old photographer. Like, I'm only 2-3 years in the game. I'm like, fuck, I wish I was doing this for 5 or 6. Some of these 23-year-olds have been doing it for 5 or 6. Right. And I'm like, am I late? Am I too late? Am I...
That's really late. I mean, like on this song Time, I say it's like, don't say that it's too late. Don't show me a closed door. It's like, I don't want to feel that way. Like, I don't want to feel like it's too late to do almost anything. You know what I mean? I think maybe that's like the ultimate FOMO of life, is like fear of missing out on the thing that you should have been doing, or like following a dream. Like, I think that's probably the ultimate FOMO, is that you get to some point in your life and you're like, man, this is what it was. But let's say you do have that happen. How do you accept that? And like, how do you just work within that and be like, all right, cool. Like for me, all the stuff that has happened put me in a position for any of that to happen. You know what I mean? Like I had to do everything in order for me to get to this place. So I can't really there is no other way. You know, obviously you can't go back and change things, but like it was also these experiences, like they led me to this thing. Like, yeah, maybe I can look back and be like, oh well, in hindsight,
that's dangerous.
I could have done.
It's so dangerous.
I could have gone left when I went right. You know what I mean?
And like that'll stop you though. Like looking back like that, that will eat you up on the inside. And that one choice you wish would have made, like you can never look back like that. It's like the rear view mirror in your car. Look back at it sometimes, but don't think about it too much.
Yeah, it's important to understand, you know, your context in life, but at the same time, it's not important really to, you know, it's like one of those things, you're looking backwards, you're gonna miss what's in front of you. And like the fact that's in front of me is like that I am here. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing now what I feel like I truly should be doing, and certainly what I want to be doing. You know,
but you hit the nail right in the head, where that feeling of being in your mid to late 20s and feeling like you missed your timing, or you're too late, or let me just roll with it now that I'm doing this, because I think we come from the last of that generation that was forced into college or forced into this way of
thinking. I think it's finally changing a bit now, for real.
And so I think our generation, we're feeling the effects of that, where we're late 20s, mid 20s, and we're changing our career to fulfill our purpose. But there's many people who aren't, and they feel terrible, man.
Yeah. And they feel like they're too far into something. And like, that's such a, like I had this feeling when I graduated college, where I was looking down a hallway and I could just see my life unfolding in that hallway.
Damn.
And like, I was like, this sucks. And maybe you know what? It was earlier than that. That was really like, I think when I started to walk down a different hallway.
What did you see in the hallway?
Like at the time, this was a little bit earlier, so I'm gonna dial it back a little bit earlier than that. But like I was probably like 19, 20.
Yeah. And
I'd been with the same girl for like since the beginning of high school.
Whoa.
And like that's a whole nother story. But it was like thought at one time I was like, I'll probably marry this person.
Whoa.
You know, like I'm going to go to college. We're going to be, you know, and then I have an older brother and sister, so I could kind of see what their lives were turning into, because they're 6 and 9 years older than me. So they're like a good bit older than me. I was like, damn, well, when I'm 30, you know, I'm probably going to be getting married, and then like, I'm going to get a house and all these things.
30 seemed like a good age for all that.
It does. Yeah. Well, so here's the thing is I turned 30 this summer. So that influenced a lot of the writing, was me being 29 and being like, damn, like a lot of people age is coming that I thought I would be in a different place completely.
Facts, dude.
And then I wasn't. And I'm just like so much of Bloom, if you listen to it in that frame of mind, is like, I think of accepting one's age and place in life and trying to feel good about it when there's a lot of societal pressure to feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, trapping out my parents' basement came from the fact that like, I'm the person that I used to joke about being, or that like, you know, it's like a pop culture thing. We're like, you don't want to be 30 and living in your parents' basement, do you?
You know what I mean? Literally is the worst feeling, like that.
Yeah.
When you hear that too, you're
like, you don't want to be at McDonald's flipping burgers. And I'm like, I'm at La Colombe whipping lattes. Like, it's not, I work in a service job. You know what I mean? And there's stigma that comes with that. Like, there's people I serve who, you know, they are 3 years younger than me and make 4 times as much as me. Because they're software developers. I mean, I work right down the street from DOJ.
And it's so easy. It's so easy to feel down on yourself about that. It's so easy that you have to feel so good about yourself that because you'll see it, and you see it more than probably the most person, because you see them all come in and get their coffee with their nice ass suits.
Yeah, they got good
suits. 25, you just bought a condo on U Street, and you're just like, did I make the wrong choice?
Right.
You know?
But then I also, and it was like one of those things that I kind of learned, is that I realize I see something else too, is that I have a freedom that they lack, and a freedom that they might not ever be able to have.
And they look at you with that sort of
absolutely.
jealousy.
I realized that. Like, it wasn't, and it's not like on some negative thing, but it's just like this common ground where like we're meeting in this place. It's funny, I actually have a song like literally just about this whole ideas, but it's like, you look at me, because I'm at work, I'm chilling, I got whatever I want on. I think about my problems, like the espresso's off right now. It's stressing me out a little bit. Like I got to dial this espresso in. And then like, you know, or like maybe something's not working early in the morning and I got to fix it before everybody comes in.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this person is like, you know, they work at Department of Justice and they got like a crisis on their hands of national security.
And you're worried
like,
about the
and it's all on them. And I'm worried about like the fact that we're out of oat milk. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, my level of problems are different. And then I also think about it and I'm like, you know, like when I get out, like I'm here because I really like being here. Like I like serving coffee. I like making coffee. I like coffee. That's why I'm here. I want a career that eventually makes me more in coffee and in terms of, and also with music and art and stuff. But like,
that's interesting. But your level of problems are different than it almost seems like the bigger problems you solve, the more you get paid. But it's also very trivial to think that way because then it devalues everyone else's problems.
Of course. And it's like, we all got problems. And then the flip side of it is that people got crazy problems and they're only making minimum wage. And like, it's really nice when, yeah, you got problems, but if your car breaks down, you can buy a new one. That's not the same for everybody. So it's different, but like in my circumstance, I'm like, damn, you know what? This is kind of chill. And like, I know that I'm in there relaxed. I have enough energy to be really nice to people and like engage them and talk to them. And I also understood like I have a power, like an energy, like to have somebody have a good experience, you know what I mean? That can change the whole course of your day. Is like, damn, that dude made me laugh early this morning. Like they go to a job that sucks for them and maybe they aren't living their dream and they're not chasing their passion. And like,
they looks great, but
they're making crazy money, but they don't have anything to do after work. They have nothing that calls to them when they get off of work. And like that sucks. You know, like I imagine that sucks. Like I am busy all day.
Like you never not have something.
I never not have something to do. And also the idea, but also the more I invest in what I'm doing, like I'm losing on it. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to music, like for me to make back what I've spent, like to make an album, I have to make way more.
It's hard
money
to look at it monetarily. I feel like anything you want to do that's worth doing requires investment. Of course, yeah. Monetarily, time, energy,
everything.
Mentally.
It's a major investment, and like I'm cool with that. That doesn't blow me because if I was doing it for the money, I'd be doing something else. You know what I mean? Like this is something where it takes creativity in and of itself just to get the business right. You gotta have to be on top of writing songs. I have to be creative in basically every other aspect of my life. Like it's an art. Like making money is an art. Making
money is a skill. Yeah, it's a skill.
Taking the thing that you do and making money from it, and the more left what you do is, the more artistic that flip is. You know, like somebody is sitting around making 3D printing a little, figurine. It's just like, how, you know what I mean? But there's a niche market somewhere that if they just can figure out the right hashtag or the right thing, the right subreddit, and then they find these people, then all of a sudden they're making money selling the most random thing that you could have imagined. And they're doing it, but it was an art. They work for years, not only to be able to make the thing, but also to figure out, to find the people who want the thing. And like, I think the more, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the more that you're outside of any one box, the more creative you have to be in finding the people that are for you. Because I think that if you have anything that you're passionate about, somebody can love that thing with you. There's somebody who's going to share at some level.
You can make a living just talking about old records, talking about different microphones. You can make a living these days from everything, but
but you have to be creative.
You have to do that. You have to be so creative. But going back to the bloom, because I feel like this is very important. I mean, that subject matter of being lost and late blooming in your 20s, I don't know necessarily, but dude, you hit me right in the gut, in the heart, in the brain. Like I was like, he literally said everything I was scared to say out loud. Like, and I feel like that whole album is so relatable for so many people. Like that is
this is kind of the first time that like I've had people kind of reach out to me voluntarily and just be like, yo, this joint really like hit a certain.
You said some real ass shit that most people.
It hit a nerve, you know, or not a nerve, but like it hit an emotional place for people. And like, that's cool because that's where I was when I made it. You know, like I have to write these things. I don't have to share them. You know what I mean? But it helps for me to write these things for myself. Like that helps me. Those songs helped me. It's only a side effect that it could help somebody else. And that's why I share it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I keep everything to myself. It's just the realization that if it was helpful to me, it could be helpful to somebody else. And if you have anything that makes this world just a little bit probably better of a place to make you feel a little bit better so you can approach your life with a little bit more, you know, pride or positivity or whatever, like that's a good thing. You should probably share it. Even if 10 people hear it, like you made 10 people's lives a little bit more livable. And like, that's cool. Like, that's cool with me.
Yeah. And art should come from a self-serving place, you know, to sit there and be like, I wrote this just so it could hopefully chart and make millions of dollars. There is a place for that.
Sure.
But in general, as an artist putting their stuff out, it always has to be self-serving first. And like you said, it has that byproduct of it helped other people.
Right. Yeah. That's really where it comes from. I mean, I think, you know, like all those songs, like Time in particular was like really one where I was like, this felt really good to write. I feel like I've processed some emotion in this. And like, that's where writing always came from with me, was like, it helped me distill my feelings into something that, like, something tangible where I could look at that and be like, true, I get that.
Yeah.
Like, because in order to take a complex feeling and distill it into like words, and, you know, you have only so many words to use, that you really have to like understand to an extent what you're feeling and what you're trying to get out. And by the time you've done that, you're like, okay, I get that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's how you say it. That's how I can convey my feeling to these people.
Right.
Were you at all somewhat nervous or scared about putting out some of these very real thoughts that you talk about in this? Or that just not even crossed your mind?
Nah, I rarely ever like, I don't know. There might come a time, I hope that I reach it or like have a song that like makes me feel that way. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like, damn, I don't know if people are ready to hear this. Like maybe there have been times, I can't imagine anything really particularly during this project. It was all stuff that I really wanted to share. Like I really had these things I wanted to say and I wanted them to be heard. So that kind of helped, you know what I mean? Like, and I think too, like, you know, being transparent with your feelings is what really, you know, it's part of what makes somebody like a really good artist.
It's essential. It's what people connect with. That's how you bond with someone, is that one line and that one song that was exactly what you're going through at that one point in time. And you're like, I forever fuck with this guy.
Yeah. It's like, he gets me.
Yeah.
I get, it's a connection. It's all about connecting, you know, with people. It's just like, okay, this is the thing. We connected on this point.
Yeah.
You know, this point. And like, yeah, that's just the beauty. But like, this is like, when one of the first times where people who really like were hitting me and they're like, yo, this was right on time for me. Like this was right on time for me was what I've heard the most about the album. And I'm like, cool.
Nice.
Because I'm not alone. I never felt like I was alone. That was part of what drove me to say the things. I was like, oh no, somebody's feeling this too. Because it's not just me. I'm not the only person who lives in a world where there's a lot of pressure for you to do certain things at certain times in your life. And it's really lame. You know, like it's really lame to feel like that. You know, like
the pressure to have it all figured out by 32.
Right. Or just to ever have it all figured out. I think, you know, a wise person would be like, I don't know.
That's a weird, like,
you know what I mean?
Where does that come from? Like, what is that pressure? Who invented that pressure?
It's like, we did, you know what I mean? Like, that's the part about Bloom too, is that nature isn't concerned with these things, particularly time. What is time to a rock? we can't even think in geological time. Humans don't understand it. You know, like we can't fathom what 1,000,000 years is.
Oof.
We can't. You know, when you start to think about how small and insignificant our lives are, it's like, so, you know, we're just building purpose into life, but like, you know, a plant isn't concerned with time. It grows. And that's it. You know what I mean? And like, that's kind of, it grows without that restraint. Like it's funny, I wrote,
it grows without thinking about what you think about it in a way.
Right, exactly. It's not like, oh, I had another set of skits that were going to go, or interludes between the albums, like ones that I actually, where it was my voice and I was speaking about it. And I had made this kind of analogy for the intro to Time. It was just like, you know, you look around, you know, you really think a plant is turning, you know, looking around and being like, oh my God, that guy next to me, he started later than me and now he's blooming, you know, he's a flower now. Like, oh, she over there, oh man, like last week she was this tall and now she's this tall. Like, is a plant really thinking about that? And I think that like the idea behind Bloom was just that, you know, like plants have a lot to teach us, or nature has a lot to teach us about really kind of what's important.
Yeah.
You know, like really what's important. You can distill your life down to some of these smaller elements and just be like, you know what, you know, your life, you know, the idea that you have some power over your life, you know, because in nature, it's pretty unforgiving. You know what I mean? But we, because we're humans, have some element of actual choice. And that's a powerful thing. We have choices. And one thing I feel like you always can choose is like how you react to life. You know what I mean? Like, and it just goes through song by song with those things, like, but they all tie back to nature, essentially. And I think that maybe the more that we get out of touch with the natural world, the more that we forget that we're a part of it. So we start living by time. Like, time isn't real.
Time is the worst thing in the world.
It's a human construct. It's complete. I mean, there's a lot of horrible.
It's scary. You'll never get it back, and it's always running on you.
Yeah, it's always. And I think that the more that we might be able to escape that way of thinking, that we could live a little bit differently. Because I just think there's a lot of pressure that comes from that confinement, like being confined to this space that
other people's ideas of at what points in time you need to be doing
that
something.
You should be doing this thing, right? And it's different for everybody. And like, not only is it different, I don't think it's significant. You know, like nothing really matters. Even in the scale of, you know, you think of the best artist right now who's making the most impactful music. Let's say Kendrick. It's like Kendrick Lamar. And, you know, we know that, you know, it's like you want to be great. You're one of the greatest. But like, how long are you? In 100 years, how long do we speak about these people? 200 years, 300 years. Most of us don't even care what's happening in 300 years. So how long does all the things that we're tripping over to get to these points even reverberate through time? In the span of it all, like, I mean, you think of all the most famous, all the people who've lived over the course of time.
Are you trying to say like your impact over time kind of thing? Like, yeah, as an artist, like how long your impact actually lasts?
Exactly. Like, so people still know, we still talk about Shakespeare.
We still talk about Van Gogh.
Right.
All these classic artists whose works will live for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, some people, and then some of them will trade out. So it's like how much, especially of the moment that we're in now, like how much of what we're struggling for is really going to matter that much. So I think what is important is that like we're affecting people now while we're here, kind of thing.
I think what's interesting is the sense of validation that people want from their art or anything they do. You know, I think a good question to ask yourself about, not you, but you know, a good question to ask yourself is like, would I be okay doing this for the rest of my life and not getting any recognition? I mean, look at Van Gogh. He died anonymous, then became famous. He has no idea. In his poor heart, he died sad and alone, and could barely sell anything. His poor brother lied to him about art sales just to make him feel better. You know, and if you say, yeah, I would do this, whether or not I got views or whether or not I got listens, whether or not I got streams, then maybe you're in for the right reasons more so than saying you want a little bit more money. One seems better for sure.
I think that
one will feel more fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to tell like how long, it all lasts, but it's just like, if that's why I said, I'm just like, yo, if you're here and you feel it, then you should probably do it for your own sake. Like it's the same way as like I put on the same performance, whether there's 5 people in the room or 500, like that's always the 5 or 500 thing, or 500, 5,000. You gotta love it that deeply or believe in it that deeply. And for me, like I'd be writing, I was writing before anybody ever heard what I was writing. I was writing before I ever thought that anybody would ever hear anything that I wrote.
Whoa.
And I think that I'll always do that. I had no intention. Maybe it's some far back part in my brain did I ever was like, I'm going to be a famous rapper.
That was never the MO or anything?
Never a part of, especially early on. Like that never drove what I was doing, like why I was writing.
So what drove it? Was it just wanting to express these thoughts?
I think it was an expression. It was a way to, I think, relate to, especially early on, like my friends. Like I rap because one of the things that got me into writing and trying to like actually rap a little bit is my friends in Spanish class in 7th grade would like battle each other. And I thought it was cool, but I couldn't really participate. I didn't really know what they were doing. Obviously, I knew they were rapping. I knew what they were doing, but I was like, I don't have any bars. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I'm like sitting here trying to, piece together some
You're just
things.
trying to write some rap bars, some battle bars?
Yeah. Oh, so this is probably like the most suburban thing ever in the world. Me and my friends used to go and make chat rooms on AIM and battle each other in chat rooms. And I have some of them.
What?
I have them saved. I have a few of them. These are probably from like when I was in like 9th grade. But yeah, there was.
Or how do you battle on AIM? Like they would just type their verse, or
you would just type the whole thing in, like,
and then you would respond.
Yeah, exactly. Whoa. And it would go like a couple bars at a time because I think I don't know if there was like some character minimum or you just felt like you needed to respond faster. But like, yeah, you would just write back.
Dang.
Like, and it was competitive for being on the internet. Like people were talking shit to each other, like everything. Because there was ones that you could make with your friends, like people you knew, and then you could just go get into chat rooms. Like it was a battle. There were battle chat rooms.
What?
On AIM.
It's a whole subculture I've never heard.
I don't know how many people know it. Saying this out loud now, I feel like I need to like do something about like battle chat rooms.
This is epic. Battle chat rooms.
They were. There was some way too that you could hit some like code in and it would like roll dice, and you would get a number, and like you would determine who was going to go first by
what?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact mechanics, but there was that component of it. Yeah, like we used to just go and like battle people. So I have battle bars. Like, I mean, a lot of my early raps were a mixture of like things that I was feeling, and then me trying to like
with people. So because you're in a chat room battling, so would everyone else in the chat room be like, "Yo, you won, you won,
yeah,
you won"?
Yeah. People would be like, "Yo, so and so killed it."
Because I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, they're in a chat room, not just in like a one-way chat. Like it's a whole room, people just watching.
Nah, people would be like, "Nah, he won," because there were people that were in the battle. Like this person's battling this person, this person's battling this person. So you would just at those early, like mention those people.
Yeah, you probably ruined the lives of some deaf people in those chat rooms, bro.
That probably gave some people a platform. They were probably like, "Oh, I can't hear anything," but like I got these bars.
It's crazy, random stuff like that leads to now. You know, it's crazy stuff like that.
So the one of my main homies from like that moment of life, like he's still an artist. His name is Ninja Nisus. Like me and him go back to that moment, and he's still an artist now, and he lives in Brooklyn. He's super dope, and it's just funny to be along that whole path with him, sort of. But he early on was really making it a career. Like him and my homie Nature, that they early as teenagers at 18, 19, like they were doing it, and they were a big inspiration for me. They showed me, they're like, "Yo, you could do it." The first people I ever opened for, the first show I ever did was opening for them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like I was just like, okay, I can do this. You know, like I used to go and shoot their shows. That's how I was like, I have a couple songs. Why don't I just perform before you guys? Like I would go and take pictures of them. Like every weekend I would ride up to New York and go shoot them and their band because they were in a group together. And that like just kind of showed me, I was like, man, I can do this. Like
that's that mentality from an early age that you almost wish you had, you know, that you, even I'm so envious now. Just being, I wish I was 18, 19, being like, I want to be a photographer for the rest of my life. Yeah. Which was crazy.
If I knew what I know now, but
I knew what, some classic words. If I knew what I knew now.
No, that's totally it, man.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite lines from your show that I remember was, I'm going to say it terribly, so correct me. It was, something along the lines of too much sunshine will kill a flower. And so you need the rain to make so you can enjoy the sunshine. I don't know. I don't know if you remember how it goes.
Yeah. No, you know what's really hard for me is that like for me to recite my rhymes, I have to start from the beginning and then go. It's like saying the alphabet. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, I got to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. But no, it's from rain. And I know you kind of encapsulated the exact thing, you know, is that we need things to be uncomfortable. You know, like plants thrive in a harsh environment.
You know, that was a big reason why I moved out of the parents' basement into DC as well, is because while I was hustling, I was doing everything I'm doing now, and I'm sure you can relate, you kind of look at yourself and you feel too comfortable.
Yeah, I realized
I kind of felt too comfortable. And I was like, you know what? I want that struggle because I feel like that's going to make me a better person. That's going to make me just better in general, or just that little edge. I need that little extra edge.
Yeah, you need a little bit of fire, because when you're too comfy, you're not inspired to do anything. You know, like I think I kind of think about that too, of just being a kid in some ways, is that like there was always some level of comfort. Like not to say that it completely was, like there definitely some shit that wasn't from my life, but like there was that thing of like comfort, and like that can really trap you, because you in that comfortability you're just like, no, well, it's nice here, you know, it's like laying in bed and you're just like, you know, instead of being like, man, this bed feels like it's made of spikes, I got to go out and like do something so I can get a better bed, you know what I mean? And like, so you need that, like we all need to be uncomfortable, and that's it's part of what Rain is about, but that's the more or less the gist of Air too. Like Air is like, you need to be uncomfortable. Like you need to try to do different things. You have to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, because that's where we grow the most. Anytime that, you know, anytime that you've been through something, you always come out the other end more informed and like realer for it. You know what I mean? Like Currency has a line. He's like, what doesn't kill you makes you realer. Like, it's true. It's like, it just deepens your...
You also got to have the right mindset when you go through stuff. I think a lot of people go through stuff and they feel like, where am I going with this? When you go through something crazy or that crazy time in life, it's like you want to look at it and be optimistic. I think a lot of people can be look bad about it. And instead of always trying to find the light, it's really easy to find darkness in things and to not have the right positive mental attitude about things.
Right.
I don't know. It's I feel like it's rarer and rarer, and I feel like positivity goes a lot further in bad situations, or just always being like,
it does. It definitely does. And like, that's been something that's like been a work in progress for me, is like really how to maintain positivity while like working through, like, you know, while working through something. And like, again, it just goes back to the reason why I create is like, those things make me feel better. That's my positivity. If I can share this thing, I have this outlet, that's where the energy goes. It's like you can spin, it's like spinning straw into gold, or, you know, lemons to lemonade, whatever it is just like, there's been times where I've felt terrible and I've sat down and I could be crying, I could be going through it, like I could be thinking the worst things ever. And if I come up with the right way to express those feelings, I can't not be proud of myself. It makes me happy. Like in that moment, something could be really terrible and I'll be like, damn, that was a fire bar. Like, that makes me like, it pulls me out. I'm like, all right, cool. If it's not for nothing, but it taught me something so profound, is just like, there's something beautiful in all of this thing that sucks. I can take, there's always a gem somewhere in there. And I don't think that you need to necessarily write raps to understand that. Like, I feel like you can find it. You can take some type of negative energy and just make it positive. Mm-hmm. Like, and not in like a really corny way of like, the house is on fire, but it's okay. I'm immune to fire. Like, no, you're going to get burned. Get out of the house. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe you needed to get out of the house. You needed the house to burn to put you into a new house, a new situation. You don't want the house to burn. It sucks. It sucks the house is burning.
Yeah.
Now take some action.
That was that was the ultimate mental flip right there, by the way. That was a good one. You just flipped the house being on fire to being like, okay, I needed it to burn.
Yeah, like no, like you had, because that's like, it's adaptation.
So real quick, while we're talking in the middle of this, where can people get Bloom? Just anyone listening right now, after they hear all this amazing stuff, I want you to think, we're going to do that right now. Where do they find it? Where do they download it?
You can literally just, if you type in Brainrapp on any streaming platform, or even just follow me on Instagram, that link's in my bio to basically where you can listen to it. If you just Google Brainrapp, iTunes, or type me in on Spotify. Yeah, it's called Bloom. Cool. But definitely type in Brainrapp first, because I'm sure that
2 P's.
Yeah, with the extra P, because if you don't do that, you might get a rap about somebody's brains, or it's going to be trying to do like Brain Rapp. It's something different, or brainrapp.com. But just I'm everywhere. All my social media is the same. So,
dude, so how long have you been a barista for?
I've been a barista for 2 years, just over 2 years.
Nice. Yeah, I've been a barista for as well. I kind of enjoyed it a little bit. It's cool. I've always had a passion for food and everything like that. But when it came to coffee, I was very mystified. I'm still mystified.
Yeah, it's cool. Like it was something that I would just felt. It was something that for the past, basically since I started working like a full-time job, like coffee really started to become a part of my life, like a part of my routine. Because that's what allowed me to work. Initially, when I first got out of college, I was working as an arborist for Pepco, basically.
What is that? What's an arborist?
So I would basically make sure that people's trees aren't falling on power lines.
Okay.
To put a very small, thing on it. I don't know how deep we want to get into arbor care today, because I can go into it. Like,
I just never heard arborist. I was like, what the hell is
that? So I was doing that, but I was working like 4 10-hour days, and like I still wanted to go home and create. When I came home, so I would work 10 hours. I'd go home. I'd eat a little bit of dinner. I'd drink a cup of coffee around 4 o'clock, and that was enough to get me 2 hours of writing between 8 and 10.
Dude, it's crazy how much coffee can change. How much it just changes your mind, right?
It really helps me too. Like sometimes if I'm feeling down, I was like, I don't know if that's like a bad thing, but whatever. I'm drinking a cup of coffee, but like it can change my mood. Like it definitely influences my mood. Not like if I don't have coffee, I'm like this raging person by any means. I'm not one of those people who are like, I can't focus without coffee. Like I work in coffee. Like I'm fine if I don't have a cup of coffee. It's okay. Maybe I'll get a headache around like 3, but I'm not gonna die. You know what I mean? But it is very. It's a good transition too. I think that any type of thing helps you transition from one mode to a next. Some people, it is like a joint. They get off work and they want to go do something else, so they hit a bowl real quick. Like that used to be my transition, but then coffee just replaced it. Now, instead of smoking at 3 o'clock, I'm just drinking a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock and I'm writing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm 100% addicted to coffee. I'll admit it, but I'm not like,
nah. And that's a nice thing about
it. Takes the morning edge off, takes the midday edge off of it. Like, what the hell are people who don't drink coffee? When someone doesn't drink coffee, 1, I don't trust them. And 2, I'm like, that moment in your day when you just feel like I want to take a nap.
Yeah.
And they don't drink coffee. What the hell do they do?
No, I know.
I literally, that happened to me today. Before this, I was like, wow,
some people just run off of energy. I'm so impressed that my brother-in-law, like, he doesn't drink coffee. Mm-hmm. He doesn't drink tea. I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but if you've never had it, your body just knows.
Or does he give himself like a mental pep talk? You got this.
You got it. Transition in this.
Someone just doing Shia LaBeouf just flexing in his head, like, you can do it.
Yeah. Not me. So I just always had this. I was like, it became more and more a part of my life. And I was just like, man, I could just drink coffee and talk to people.
How deep in the coffee game are you as barista? Are you like into the whole cupping stuff? Like, do you Are you like hardcore on the latte art? What's the deal?
I'm pretty nice at latte art.
Yeah?
I'll give myself. I'll give that
latte art, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I'm not like super competition level, but like I can whip some shit. Like I can make pretty good latte art.
Yeah.
Like for sure.
Even with oat milk?
Absolutely with oat milk.
Damn.
Dog, my oat milk game is because I drink oat milk like for myself. So
okay.
I can make it really well. Yeah, like really good.
I've always had the oat milk. I always kind of wanted to hate oat milk, but it's not bad.
It's especially in comparison to other non-dairy, it's fire. Like it's definitely a lot better texture wise for steaming, and I think flavor. Like the other thing that a lot of people use is almond milk, and like almond tastes like almond ish. It has a nutty, and that can be overpowering. You grow to like it over time, but I think that oat milk, even though it's oat is a more neutral flavor. It's like Cheerios.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like Cheerios are bland but still have flavor.
What do we get? What do we have? Oat milk, almond milk. What other crazy milk?
I like
pea milk.
I've had pea milk. Hemp milk.
Hemp milk? What's that taste like? Tastes like hippie's armpit?
It was grassy. It was I've only had it I think like once or twice. It was kind of like grassy, and then
like eating a seed or something.
I like macadamia milk.
That sounds luxurious though.
It is.
That sounds nice.
There's a company called Milkadamia that makes it. Ooh, and that's pretty good.
That sounds delectable.
They have one that's like a little bit sweet, but even the completely unsweetened one is good. But I've never actually worked with it in coffee. I just buy it at the grocery store. But it's good.
I think people don't realize how much goes into like a great, perfectly crafted cup of coffee. It's not just roasted beans and water. It's when you get to
point A to point B.
It's the temperature of the water, how much roasted the beans, how fine or coarse the ground is, how fast it's pulling through the machine, and then
many things.
And then on top of that, it's let's say you got that right. Then it's what kind of milk are you using? Are you frothing it? Yeah. How do you steam it? Is it too hot? Is it too much? Like it's an art, man.
Yeah, it really is an art. I think that's why I think like I know a lot of artists who work in coffee, and I think that it's an art. That's why people like to do it. You know what I mean? Like, especially I think artists are more drawn to it because there is, you get to tinker with the things. You can get really
unless you work at Starbucks, then it's not. Well, it's all automated.
And that's the thing. And I tell people all that all the time. I'm like, that's the major difference is that the people that work there, they're not even given the opportunity to make something themselves. They can't even steam the milk themselves. Like they pour it in and they put it underneath the thing that's temperature regulated.
Yeah,
it's completely automated.
Auto steamed milk.
Right. It takes the human out of the experience, and also like that's just the preparation. But all that went into everything previous, like making it, is even just getting it here. Like this thing came from a small farm in Ethiopia that a family owns, and they curate these fields, and then somebody went over there and they sampled everything that they had before they even roasted it. They're looking at it, and there's people that are called Q graders or like quality graders, and they're like master sommeliers of coffee, and they work for coffee companies, and they go to the sites, to the fields, to the farms, and they go and they meet with people, they roast, they drink it, they cup it, just to get it back here, just to roast it. And then you have the whole art of roasting a cup of coffee. Yeah, then it comes over to you. And then the crazy thing is like, I see this more with like pour over coffee than maybe not so much lattes, because you lose a lot of flavor of it when you add anything to it, especially like 8 ounces of milk. Like a latte is delicious, don't get me wrong, but like it's not usually the best thing to gauge how something tastes, you know what I mean? So like people, and I got told this, I got hip. It was actually the very first time that I went to one of the company that I work for now. I went to the locations long before I was like into specialty coffee or knew what it was. I got a pour over. I was like, this sounds fancy. And
$1 more too.
Yeah. And so the guy, I get it. And, I asked him, I was like, where's your guys half and half? And he was like, yo, he's like, you can, more or less, he was like, you can put that in there. He's like, but you have to understand that like this cup of coffee you're drinking came from a small family's farm half the country away. And like from that point to where it is now, a lot of people had their hands on this who really cared about how this thing tasted. And it put a lot into perspective for me. I'm like, yo, somebody worked really hard to make sure that this tastes the way that it does. That
did you feel like suddenly disrespectful about putting half and half in there?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
yeah, your homie's screwed, by the way. It's
oh, is it locked?
And I'm not going to get up. I'm going to run into a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to just open it for him real quick?
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Just try not to bump anything.
Oh, I didn't. No, I'm not going to touch it.
I knew he was going to get locked out. I just didn't want to say anything.
Oh, yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah.
I knew you were going to get locked out, bro.
I
didn't know. Yeah, it's all good, man.
Security.
But no, so yeah, you feel like instantly disrespectful of putting a half and half in.
Yeah, I was like, and I totally was just like, I still did it, but that kind of got me into like that mode of thinking. And then when I started working in coffee, I really understood that. Like, there's a way to get people to think about their drink that way, where you don't have to be a dick. Like I've found the art of conveying to somebody. I'm like,
that guy sounds like a little bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to tell somebody, be like, "Yo, just don't. You're gonna mess your drink up," or at least just give it a chance.
Yeah, at least taste it before you put the half and half.
Because
maybe enjoy it.
It's one of those things that is like people just associate coffee with cream and sugar. You know what I mean? If you put cream and sugar next to some side by side, and you were like, "What does this remind you of?" Somebody would be like, "Coffee," with no coffee there. You know what I mean? Because they're so fundamental to our thinking about coffee. So I get it. It's like you get the coffee. Well, it needs cream. It needs sugar. But does it? I mean, like, yeah. If
you feel like it's almost incomplete without these two other things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if it was Folgers crystals that was, roasted in, been roasted the same way since 1950. Yeah, probably. But otherwise.
Do you think Folgers is bad, though?
I haven't drank Folgers in a while. And to be completely honest, too, is like, I'm not that much of a coffee snob. I don't care if people drink Dunkin' Donuts every day. I don't.
Dude, I wouldn't diss Dunkin' Donuts. You'll be dissing like the entire northeast of the America.
Whatever it is, 7-Eleven coffee. If it's good to you, that's all that matters.
Do you?
Yeah, and not even just like that. The most important thing is that you like what you're getting. If you come to our shop and you taste something, but I think you should give yourself the opportunity to taste something that are different. Like, I would also not say that 7-Eleven is equivalent to specialty coffee.
Not at all.
It's treated differently from the beginning, so you should treat it differently at the end. I see them almost as two different things. Like, there's coffee that's roasted that is fantastic with milk. It's okay on its own, or it might be good on its own. But when you put that in a latte, it's fire. And you're not.
Can we just talk about a latte real quick? A latte should just not exist. There is just way too much milk in a latte.
I'm a big fan of a flat white.
Flat whites are bomb.
Yeah, flat whites are my drink of choice, which is hard to do with oat milk. It's hard to keep that milk really thin.
I'm very dumb at that. What makes a flat white a flat white?
The amount of milk and also the lack of like foam. It's it's flat.
People don't know the difference between foam and steamed milk.
Yeah, it's like it would be like a thin short latte is what I think of as a flat white. I don't think anyone listening, even myself, knows what that means. Yeah, so it'd be like if you had a latte, but maybe you had a 12-ounce cup.
Yeah.
It would maybe be like 6-7 ounces. Instead of having maybe, like always, it'd be more watery. Like it's runny. So like if you had the cup and you shook it, you might get more of a wave. If you have a latte that's been made properly and you shake it, it'll wiggle like a little bit. If you have a thick cappuccino and you wiggle it, it's not really going to move. And that's how the differences in the texture of the milk kind of shake out for the most part. And like, I just particularly like.
Yeah, flat white seems very just smooth.
Yeah,
very it feels like a really great mix.
That's the drink of choice of Australians and people from New Zealand. And so when they come in and they ask, do you have a flat white? And I'm like, I got you. Maybe that's a more British accent. I'm sorry if anybody else.
Yeah, that was very British.
I'm working on it.
Accents are hard, man.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go for it. I was like, I had this very small moment of like, should I go for this accent right now?
No, I respect you for the accent.
And I was like,
honestly, if I just did like an Australian accent in my mind, I was like, ooh, that was British shit.
Yeah, no, that's totally what I did. I was like, nah, I'm British.
I still haven't pinned down exactly what is flat white. It's just, is it the consistency of the milk?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Texture. That's what I would call like
and how you
the amount and texture.
How you steam it?
Yeah. Or like really, like, so maybe when you're making a latte, you're going to go with the steam one, you're going to be like, you know, maybe just that much. Now you're going to sink it in until it's, you know, it's hot enough.
Yeah.
But like when I make a flat white, it's like, and then I just the rest of the time is temperature. I'm just making it hot.
You put the steam at the bottom essentially, and
just do it very early on and do a very thin, just a little bit of steam.
So it's like less bubbles and more hot milk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it doesn't really get thick. It's very.
When that came out, that was like the drink at Starbucks, the flat white.
And I don't even know how they would make one, but so here is what I was going to say about, you know, our Aussie friends. I've asked them, I'll be like, when they come in, I'll be like, how's your flat white? And like people have told me again and again, they'll be like, that's the best one I've had since I've been in the States.
Damn.
Like that's how I gauge whether or not the drink that I'm doing is correct.
By other people.
By their standards, because people, especially from Melbourne, like Melbourne's like a huge coffee, it's like Seattle kind of thing. So like people really know their stuff. You know what I mean? Like people are really into like specialty coffee, and it's getting good coffee is really, really easy there. So when I have people who are like, yo, this is good, I'm like, bet. So this must be sort of a formula for making this drink.
It's like a business metaphor. Like the market determines what's good. You don't determine. You could think your stuff is amazing, but if the market's like, nah, dude, then it's probably not, dude.
Yeah,
if totally. Everyone's telling you that it's dope, then all right, this might be a little dope.
Right.
It might be pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, shit. How much coffee you drink every day?
I'm usually about like 2-ish cups.
Same.
Maybe 2 to 3, but it's hard to measure in cups. I think of it more as like coffee times.
It's like drinks. How many drinks you have?
Yeah, because especially if I'm opening in the morning, I have to taste the espresso. You don't have to drink it, but I do. Like to sit and like sip it and be like, and then spit it out. It just feels lame to me. I don't like spitting that much, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's just, it's weird. So I'm drinking a little bit of espresso, but just like mouthfuls essentially just to make sure like, okay, this is too bitter. It needs an adjustment. This is good. So we have to do that every morning and then every afternoon. So if I'm either working in the morning, so I'm drinking a little bit then around 9, 10 o'clock. I'll maybe have, if I'm at work, I'll have my flat white. And then when I get home, for the most part, around like 3, 4 o'clock, I'm either drinking, depending on the season, like a hot cup of coffee, because now I'm making it at home, or doing
hell yeah, moving to the city, my ass like making coffee at home. I'm not spending $4 or $5 on no.
Oh well, that's another thing too. Is like because I work in coffee, I don't almost ever pay. The only time I pay for coffee is when I go somewhere else. So
and you're like, oh, I really want to try this.
Yeah, nah, I don't. I just drink free coffee. Yeah, nice. What I have at work or what I take home with me from work.
Hell yeah, coffee's what's up, dude.
Yeah,
I'll the transition here, but coffee makes me horny. Is that weird? I haven't heard of many things. Like it does make me like want to fuck, but like it kind of turns me on a little bit. Like
yeah, I could totally feel that. It gets your blood flowing,
right? If it like loosens up the valves or something, man. Like
nah, I could feel you on that. I feel like
random. I've said that people are just like, what? You're weird. I'm like, nah, man. It kind of does. It kind of gets you kind of going.
Yeah,
keeps you up and
yeah. Nah, I totally feel that
shit. Anyways, man. So what's coming up with you, man? What's coming up with Brian's Brain Rapp? Like anything else? Like what's on the foray here?
Really just right now, just trying to do more with the album, release visuals. I was just tweeting this the other day. It's funny, it's like my album came out 3 weeks ago. And like, at this point, I can't really even send it to outlets anymore. It's old news. You know what I mean? Like you basically have a week to promote your album after it. If people are going to write about it, they're writing about it in that week. And if that time elapses, like, You can't just I can't hit somebody like a month out and be like, hey, here's this new album you never heard before. It's a month old. Did you write about it? Like maybe that happens. But like for the most part, people are like, this came out. Like there's places that are like, don't send us anything that's more than 2 weeks old or 4 weeks old.
That's scary.
So now you have to create more things to talk about. So if I release a video, now I can be like, well, this is the video from the album. Okay, now I'm talking about
it always has to be fresh.
Right. So there has to be some new type of content. It can't be the album.
That's scary to think that someone could spend a whole year working on an album and then if you don't promote it within the first month, it's like, it didn't happen. Sorry, it didn't pop.
It's so stupid. It's like, it just sucks.
It really does,
sucks.
dude.
It sucks. But so it's one of those things where you got to be creative. So you got to keep doing things again or move them to a different area or redo an idea. Like what I really love to do is take what I did for the album release and do that again, but condense the day and the night event into like one thing.
What did you do during the day of that event?
Oh, so I had a pop-up flower and coffee shop in that space.
That's dope.
Yeah, we took all the stuff out for the show, but yeah, we were in there. Me and my girlfriend both work in coffee. We're also both artists. She's the vocalist on Light. That female vocal that you hear is her.
Okay.
Is Ava. And so we were both, she was really making coffee that whole day. So she's in there doing pour overs for everybody. We did free coffee. I had one of my friends who grows, like got into like urban farming, like grows some like herbs and stuff like that, like actual herbs. And he was like selling them there to people and like talking about gardening with
like
people.
A Rapp farmer's market.
Yeah. Shit. I didn't even think about it, but like that
farmer's market. Damn. You can steal it. It's cool, dude.
Nah, so that was funny because like that is actually a name for kind of exactly what that was.
That
and
could
like
be a whole pop-up
and like what I really want to do, like I intend to do that again, but I want to involve more people. Like I want to bring in people from different, just like more, even have more artists perform. I don't want to be the only person, especially when I have an album to promote. Like I really still want to perform my album, but if you saw my album like 6 weeks ago, maybe that's not going to be your main draw. The songs I'm going to perform. Like that's why you have to be careful in the amount of shows you do where, because people will be like, dog, I saw you last month. I love you, man. But like, I saw you last month. There's only so many.
But you also perform with a band. Like that's what I thought was.
That was the first time I ever did that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was so badass that you weren't doing it over a backing track.
Yeah, that was.
Was that nerve-wracking?
Nah, we had practiced enough that it was that. I mean, I'm always a little nervous before I perform, just in general. But
Naturally.
But I wasn't worried about any problems. I think I've also performed enough that like I don't like I've messed up things before on stage and I'm like, okay, the world didn't stop. I've done the same verse twice. I forgot verses, like everything, besides like falling all the way down. Right? So I just know that like if something happens, just laugh and then just be like, okay.
Dude, that was
time to go.
That setup was cool. The band and then you were live sampling. That was so sick.
That's the first time I did that too, because you can't do that with a backing track. I mean, you can to an extent, but then you have to loop that track.
Do you always want to perform like that? Or is it just not something that's sustainable as far as...
It's definitely harder to do. One, we have to coordinate. So now that's why there was only two people there.
You have to depend on two other people.
They have to really care about what I care about. And one of the things you realize, I think, quick is that nobody cares as much as you do about what you're doing. And that's how it should be.
Big facts.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really, you can be mad all you want about it, but that's the reality of it, is that no one's going to care more than you. It might be a problem if somebody who cares more than you. You might need to like take that into account. Like, damn, this person seems more worried about it. So this person's trying harder for me in my career than I am. That's a problem. I would never want that. But for me, it's just like, okay, I can do this essentially.
No, I feel that, man. 100%. Jesus. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy. And the fact that I could hear guys sneezing out in the hallway is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, that sneeze was loud. It sounded like a hi-ya.
Kind of
like a
space, right?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like an exhibit in a weird way, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. People are like, what's happening?
Yeah, I saw some guy recording over there with his phone. Oh, for people listening who don't know, we're recording at this like really trendy hotel. And this is like their radio station. And it's just really funny because I left the blinds up just to kind of see what happened when I shut them. Yeah. And I just noticed so many people looking at us. I started to feel like a hamster for a second. I'm
like, it's cool. Yeah. They're probably like, whoa, what's going on? I should have like a sign that's like, this is my show. No, you should. Yeah. Throw it up in the window.
Next time I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna throw that shit up.
Definitely. You could get maybe a LED joint or something like.
That is way too much, man.
Yeah. Well, maybe not that. Sorry, that was a big. If this was that might have been the quantum leap.
If this was my studio, hell yeah, I'd be like, that's the angle. Boop, right. We live.
Right.
Yeah, man. Well, sweet, dude. I feel like we're kind of at a good naturally ending spot here, man. Yeah. I feel like people need to know where to follow you. Oh, just
that. Yeah, that's so. Just to wrap up what's happening next, I'm just trying to do more shows, release more videos, and just keep it moving with it. Thankfully it's one of those things where you can still hear the music. If I go and perform it for you, it's new to you then. And that doesn't get lost on listeners for whatever reason, for publications and stuff like that. They don't feel like that works, but it's just oh, the song is 4 years old. Well, it's day one fresh to me and I love it. So why you wouldn't give people that opportunity, I don't know. I don't care. I'm not trying to change that, but what I can control is what I do. So for me, it's I want to expand on the event, and I just want to hopefully just get out of town and do some more shows. And I have one visual already. I got ideas for other ones, and that's always fun. Nice. So that's how we'll try to keep it fresh and keep it alive.
Dude, what you're doing is epic, and it's so relevant to today's culture and to every other person living in America and probably across the world. So I really hope would seriously go listen to it, man, and blast that shit all summer.
Thank you, yo.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. You, yo. Well, sweet, man. If someone wants to follow you on Instagram or find the album, what should they do?
So it's on Instagram is @Brain, like what you think, with RA2Ps. So Brain, RA2Ps. And then Brainrapp.com, Brainrapp on iTunes, everything. And then the album's called Bloom. Because people have been listening to it, it's usually towards the top of the thing because it's also the newest thing. So that's really it. And another thing too, if you listen and you fall in love and you've been streaming the heck out of it, please consider buying the album. I just actually put something in my Instagram story today where I was just one of my artist friends posted basically, what are a graph of what artists are getting paid per.
I thought artists made a lot of stream. I thought artists made buku bucks from streams these days. I thought it was pretty decent.
Nah,
it's not.
Oh yeah,
what?
No, it's. Oh man, this is when we get out of here. Look on Instagram at the thing, but I'll tell you, Spotify is 0.016 cents a play.
0.016.
It's 0.016. Yeah, so it's a fraction of a penny for me to. I was on Fresh Finds on Spotify. I was one of their curated playlists.
That's epic as hell.
600,000 followers. It got about, so they leave it on the playlist for a week and then they refresh the whole thing. Mm-hmm. In the week it did about 10,000 plays. That might be $30 or $40.
Shit.
For people that are getting millions of streams a day,
they're making money.
They're making
when they're streaming off all these platforms too.
They're making a decent amount of money, but before that, it's not. What I've been telling people to do, if they feel comfortable, Bandcamp is a great resource to just buy the album. If you go to brainrapp.bandcamp.com, mm-hmm. you can buy my album. You can pay what you want for it. Anything over, I think, $7. So you can pay $7 and get it. When you buy it on Bandcamp, you get the actual files themselves. So you own the music. When you stream something, you don't ever own it. If I decide that I want to stop distributing that music, I don't care how much you love it. If I take it down, you can't listen to it anymore. That's it. It's gone. And that's how it is. So your favorite album, it's just like Jay-Z. When he launched Tidal, he yanked every Jay-Z album except for the ones that he doesn't like from every other streaming platform. And now I can't listen to Reasonable Doubt anymore. And
damn,
I can always go buy it, of course, which I own in that regard. When you're at that
caliber, you can do moves like that. And
exactly.
But when you're in Jay-Z level, you can make moves like that. But for someone just coming up and trying to get their shit, you can't depend on streaming income.
I can't do that. Yeah, exactly. So and the other thing too is for people that I'm close to, I'm just yo, just cash at me $7, PayPal, because even Bandcamp takes a percentage of. Yeah. It's not a huge one. It's pretty fair to be honest. But we could just skip all that. You know, you could just send me the money. I'll get your email and I'll send you the album. Or you could just send me $7 and stream it. Now you've respected the art. Like, that's what I think that people are missing out on, is like, you could literally just send me $5, send me $10, whatever you feel is appropriate, and then just go stream it. Because for me to make $10 from you streaming something, you have to listen to my album hundreds of times.
I've always felt like
it, and you might not do that.
I always felt like it changed. Now I always felt like, just as my personal was, because of streaming, not everyone's going to buy the album. So it comes down to them paying to see you live and paying for your merch, or paying for anything like that.
That's why I got t-shirts popping. That's where the design really helps, is like, because that's how you make money. I mean, and that's been true a lot, but like for the most part these days, that's why even the biggest artists stay on tour all the time. Like, and they'll tell you about it. Like, that's killer to people. You know what I mean? It's killer to your mental to be on the go like that. But you have to, because streaming sales, album sales aren't there, and streaming sales aren't even cutting the bills for them. So how is it going to be for me? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, man, if you're listening, if you find yourself browsing through this like once a week or something for some consecutive amount of weeks, just send me a couple bucks. I don't even care. It would, like, seriously, like,
he wants your money.
Nah, it's because for me to get that type of, and it's a value thing. Like, if you value it, you can, and it's like, I'm not busting anybody's head. Like, people used to go buy albums from Sam Goody for like $16, $17. Like,
they were like $15.
Yeah, you were getting all that plastic casing, that, like, they were getting a lot expensive.
All that shit.
I'm like, look, you send me $7 and I'll send you the music. You'll own it forever. I'll send you all the artwork for it. I'll send you everything, and that you have it. And whether you ever open that email in your life or whether you download it and forget about it, you can stream it to your heart's content now. Like, I got what I feel like the thing is worth. I mean, obviously I think it's worth more than that, but like, you know, in a supply and demand situation, if that's what you're cool with paying, like, that's what I'm cool with getting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy with that. I feel like this is fair. And that's, you know, really all I could ask for. But if that's how you want to stream, cool. But pull up on a show. And this goes not only for me, but that's for any artist.
Oh, yeah.
Any artist. Go pull up on them. If they're in town, pull up on them. And there's so many free ways to support artists. Like, people don't understand the power of getting on your Instagram story and be like, hey, I'm listening to this right now.
Dude, that's huge. People don't realize that 400 or 500 people might click that. Yeah. Go listen to album, get that stream, get that play,
or just see it. So when maybe they see you again, they're like, oh, I remember that name. My homie was listening to that. Like, just like, it's showing so love. Simple. Or even commenting on things, because algorithms are driven by interaction. So if you comment on my post on something new I did, somebody else is I'm now more likely to see that, to be on somebody else's thing. The more people are doing that, the more that thing is like, well, this is something important.
Like, if you're not going to spend money, then at least hit him with the say the album was dope.
Hit me with a couple. Hit me with a couple emojis.
Hit him with some emojis on the comments.
Yeah,
you can return it in one way or another.
It helps so much.
Word, man. Word. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been cool.
I loved it, man. This was like the perfect way to end my day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, man. Well, everyone, please go check him out. Really should. Brighten your day.
Thank you.
That's it. That's the angle. Peace out.
Peace.
Now I just have to go stop it.
That was fun, man. That was real fun.